On the 29th of January 2022, Friends of Highgate Roman Kiln held their second crowdfunding event at Lauderdale House, Highgate. Hugh Dennis, patron of the Friends of Highgate Roman Kiln, delighted and entertained a capacity audience with his talk entitled "Presenting the Great British Dig: History in Your Back Garden." This film contains extracts from the talk.
The first thing to say about the Great British Dig, and thank you to Nick for the introduction, is that I feel like I do most of the time on television. I just feel like a complete fraud, really, because I have no background in archaeology at all, and perhaps that is the point. My academic background, if I have one, which I do in terms of a degree, is that I was a geographer. Now, to a lot of you, geography will be kind of, rivers and oxbow lakes, glaciers and all that kind of stuff. Well, I didn't do that at university. I went to Cambridge and we did, my course in part at least, was in historical geography, which just makes it sound like I was at university a very long time ago, which is also true. But the course that I did lots of stuff on medieval field systems, kind of ridge and furrow, that kind of stuff, which I was delighted to find an example of in Shepherd's Hill Gardens. I don't know if any of you have ever been there, but just on Shepherd's Hill, yeah, everyone has been. If you wander down into that park, which I did for the first time only last week, you find a ridge of a ridge and furrow system as you look across towards Alexandra Palace, and you see also that what was an ancient hunting forest that became pasture, hence the name Shepherd's Hill. It's really rather fantastic thing to go and look at. I did a course on London, which of course made me very interested in Highgate and Hampstead. I did a course on place names, and my juvenile self was delighted to find that the town Nottingham originally had an S on the front, which amused me immensely. Genuinely, they took it off for perfectly reasonable reasons. And also to find that and this is the weirdest thing I think I learned, which I found this my first week of my course, was that Baldock, so south of Cambridge, the town of Baldock, it's not its original name, in the same way that I'm not Peter Dennis anymore. Baldock was set up by the Knights Templar after the end of the last crusade. And it's a corruption because of the local way that people said its original name, which was New Baghdad. How do you get from New Baghdad to Baldock? Anyway, they did. It also led me, doing historical geography, to the dullest thesis I think anybody has ever written. I could literally have gone anywhere to do a thesis. This was an undergraduate thesis. I could have done volcanoes. I could have gone studies on the post-Stalinist USSR. I could have gone to America and studied cities. No, I decided my thesis would be, the title was, a study of the spatial distribution of elementary education in 19th century Wakefield. If anyone can beat that in terms of dullness, I would love to hear. I had a girlfriend who lived very near Wakefield. That was the essential reason. And I also, and perhaps this is a link to archaeology, I became rather obsessed with a book that I read, I think in my first year, called The Making of the English Landscape. I don't know if anybody's read that. By a guy called W.G. Hoskins, yeah, very well known. And his idea really was that, the landscape is, it's created over generations really, and you can use the landscape as a clue to what has happened before. So one of the things that he cites in it is if you're driving through Devon, for example, and you go down one of those very steep-sided, very narrow roads where you're thinking, please God, don't let anybody make me reverse. This is literally going to be impossible. Why did I bring the caravan? But the reason that is there, it's very picturesque, etc. The reason it's there is because it's a parish boundary or a field boundary. So you couldn't go to either side. You're just sort of stuck in this rut which has been forced down over the centuries, in the same way that Upper Street in Islington, which was a drove road, has ended up below the level of the pavement. It's several layers below the pavement up by Angel. My mother was a history graduate, my brother was a history graduate, my father was a bishop. So you had to be sort of interested in the past, seeing as it was mostly based on an ancient book. So you had to, and he also became absolutely fascinated with family history, my father. And from about the age of 70, he devoted himself really to working out our family tree. He did this magnificent bit of work where he got us back to about 1650 and miners somewhere in Leicestershire, and then presented me and my brother with this fantastic family tree, massive document, and it looked great. And I said to him, "Dad, this is you've done a great bit of work. This is a fantastic bit of work. Well done." He went, "Thanks." And then I looked at my own entry, and he'd got my date of birth wrong. I think it was probably the only mistake. So what is the Great British Dig? Well, I think for me, the sort of premise of it perfectly attunes to the definition of what an archaeologist is, which is used by Chloe Duckworth, who's one of the archaeologists on the programme. She said an archaeologist is those who seek to learn more about our shared human story through material things that past people have left behind, which to my ear sounds like a very, very academic version of the Wombles, if you like. Or possibly anti-Wombles, given that they're very, very keen. Archaeologists are very keen on litter and people who haven't bothered to clear things up. It's the only way. It's literally the only way in which the thing progresses. But that's all archaeology shows, isn't it? And what's different about the Great British Dig? Well, it is, as Nick says, it's because we don't go to magnificent, great sites with picturesque landscapes and all the rest of it. We dig in people's back gardens and try and uncover the history that is literally beneath their feet. There was this fantastic moment for me where digging down in the market square, literally between a cash point, there was a cash point, then there was a fence, and there was someone's garage, and we got permission to dig in this tiny gap between the two. And there, tucked between the soil pipe from a loo in the garage and this cash point, we found two bodies, beautifully preserved, incredibly moving, really, because we did a facial reconstruction on them. One of them looked very like Hugh Bonneville, which was a bit disconcerting, who I know quite well. But it was sort of amazing. Also, you got into those problems with kind of human archaeology of what on earth do you do with the bodies, because it's not like Silent Witness or something. You think these people have lain here disturbed, undisturbed, and we have now disturbed them. What do we do? So, when the cameras stop rolling and stuff, you can't just point a camera at them and go. And those people are now to be reburied in the churchyard. And hopefully I will go to the burial. But really the very best bit, I think, of the Great British Dig, and this is the whole point of it really, is just seeing the pride and interest of people in where they live. And it is very, very easy in a place like Highgate, isn't it? We've got kilns, we've got a 19th century railway that used to run around the edge of the woods and has now become the Parkland Walk. We've got Lauderdale House, we've got Hampstead Heath, we've got everything, which is all perfectly preserved. Most people don't have that. Most people don't have those things where they live, but they do have stuff which is under their gardens, and that is what we try to find. And my major takeout from the whole series, and this is to paraphrase Agatha Christie, is I've become friends with lots of archaeologists, and I think, to paraphrase what she said, was it? It's very good to be friends with archaeologists, because as you get older, they'll find you more and more interesting. Anyway, thank you very much.
We, the Friends of Highgate Roman Kiln, have raised £18,000 of our £25,000 crowdfunding target, but we need more to bring the kiln home to Highgate Woods soon. If you've enjoyed Hugh's talk, please consider donating to FoHRK. You can donate at www.justgiving.com/campaign/kiln 2021. Thank you very much.